Alright then, Pikachu, I choose you!
Yes, Ash, we know you choose Pikachu. He's your #1 pal after all. This little yellow rodent even gets the luxury of existing outside a Pokeball. While all the other Pokemon around the Pokeworld are dematerialized and crammed into the most marketable fictional object of all time, Pikachu gets to stretch his legs. Life ain't fair, is it, Squirtle? That's right, get back in your ball and wait your turn to feel the wind and sunlight on your skin. Just don't lose your next battle or else I'm trading your ass. A happy trainer means a happy Pokemon. At least that's what I tell myself, so don't fuck it up, Kay. Don't make me cancel funding for the Squirtle Squad. Alright, enough with the bit. We're talking about Pikachu. You could say he's the co-star of the Pokemon franchise. Not only is he Ash's tried and true Poke sidekick in the anime, but he's also the face of Pokemon as a whole. Ask your grandma to name 5 Pokemen, and chances are she'll be able to at least remember the Peekapoo guy. That is to say, Pikachu is important. But what role exactly does this electric mouse play in one of the most beloved franchises of all time? He's at the center of it all, but what makes it work? What makes him work? When you've got a show that lasts, what is it, 20 seasons now, and merchandise up the hizzazzle, it's safe to say Pikachu has had an impact on us all. But why? If you popped open this little guy's head and looked inside, if you looked at the adventures he's been on, you'd find an experience worth remembering. An experience that ties together decades of anime and gameplay with a kind of poetry that only Nintendo can deliver. So prepare yourself for the story of a beloved companion, for the story of Pikachu, for the story you never knew. First things first, there's some questions about Pikachu we need to answer. Let's start with the most important one. It comes up early on in both the anime and games, specifically Yellow version in the games. The question is, why won't Pikachu evolve? It's a big question mark, a common theme throughout the anime that's been a cornerstone of Pikachu's character since Ash first battled Lieutenant Surge. To give some insight, in the Season 1 episode Electric Shock Showdown, Ash is ready to obtain his 3rd gym badge from Lieutenant Surge. Unfortunately, his first attempt at doing that left Pikachu with an eclectic array of bodily injuries. Pikachu got his ass kicked. Badly. He couldn't do anything against Lieutenant Surge's evolved Raichu. Raichu was just too powerful for poor unevolved Pika-Pee, and Lieutenant Surge isn't shy about telling Ash about it. It's at this point we see what our iconic companion is really about. Rather than evolve into a Raichu that would undoubtedly be able to compete, Pikachu wants to keep his identity despite Lieutenant Surge's advice. He refuses to evolve with the Thunderstone and stays as he is. Brave and stubborn, just like your trainer, eh? A dash of peach for not making Pika evolve. It should be noted that until this point, Pikachu had for the most part been more powerful than his opponents, at least any individual one. Since the very first episode, Ash's little yellow sidekick had been quite literally a powerhouse. His shocking electrical abilities were enough to keep Team Rocket stalking a 10-year-old boy for season after all. It's only when he comes face to face with his evolved form that Pikachu really meets his match. However, when Pikachu finally recovers, he and Ash devise a plan. Well, actually, it was Brock's plan, because Ash is stupid. It's a plan that utilizes Pikachu's speed rather than his Thunder Shock. Raichu is strong and slow, but Pikachu is strong-ish and fast. This Raichu doesn't even know Quick Attack! Wha-bam! And so the day is won. But what have we really learned about Pikachu? Well, we know now he likes himself the way he is. To evolve for the sake of power is heresy. Prior to the fight, we see Pikachu give a passionate speech about how he fights in the name of all Pikachu, according to Meowth's translation, and that means something. In fact, this idea of favoring choice over forced evolution is brought up again later in Season 1. In the Battling Eevee brothers, those who want quick power-ups through evolution once again try to convince Ash to evolve his Pika-Pee. In this episode, these people come in the form of 3 brothers who are a bit overly passionate about their Eevee evolutions of choice, and so each tries to convince their 4th and youngest brother to choose their evolution. Evolve to Jolteon! No, Vaporeon! No, Flareon! Little do they know, their brown-haired, brown-eyed little bro isn't buying into the evolution game. Poor Mikey is all about keeping Eevee as Eevee. Heretic! Just kidding, his older brothers were super cool about it after they saw Eevee wreck Team Rocket. They even said he should have told him how he felt earlier. What a wholesome ending. But deeper concepts lie within this particular episode. Don't believe me? Then why does Mikey say he's more interested in Eevee being his best friend than in battling it? Obviously, that's what Ash and company are all about too. The idea that you don't own your Pokemon, and so decisions about what it will become should be left up to the Pokemon itself. As seen throughout the show, and in a conversation with the flamboyantly elemental Eevee brothers, many trainers feel superior to their Pokemon, enough to where evolving them without asking is totally fine. Just look at this conversation Ash and Brock had with the Eevee brothers.
I can't just force Vulpix to evolve. Vulpix is really important to me. Don't be dumb!
Hey, take it easy. You don't have to yell.
Evolution is what Pokemon are all about!
Why all these evolution stone users gotta be so pushy, huh? Lieutenant Surge wouldn't shut up about the stones, and now these brothers are trying to ram them down Ash and Brock's throat. Keep your stones to yourself, guys, jeez! It's almost as though a philosophy of Pokepower above all else is what a Pokemon trainer's journey is all about to these people. I guess it's all a matter of taste, but why you gotta be so dramatic and dogmatic about it, huh? As much shit as I give Ash for being stupid, he's a good guy compared to a lot of trainers. He may get rid of his best Pokemon way too much, he may use electric attacks against rock and ground types, and he may even not be able to recognize Team Rocket when they have the worst disguises ever. But beneath that confused soup of mediocrity is a heart of gold. A trainer with a philosophy on life that knows Pokemon are people too. I mean, like, they deserve to be treated well, with compassion. That's not to say trainers who evolve their Pokemon with stones don't treat their Pokemon with compassion ever. In fact, the Eevee brothers seem like a bunch of swell, albeit over-the-top guys. But like a lot of trainers, they fall into the trap of thinking they know what's best about every aspect of their Pokemon journey. They aren't so open to taking advice from the non-human members of their team because they've got it all figured out. Each of the three older brothers is an example of what this mindset looks like. No, Jolteon's the best. No, Vaporeon. No, Flareon. Okay guys, each one is good for a certain purpose. Didn't anyone teach you how Pokemon types work? I mean, I know Ash didn't, but none of these Eevee evolutions are, quote, the best. Stop sucking your own dicks about the decision you forced on your Eevees. Anyway, what does it tell us about Pikachu? Well, it certainly paints Pikachu in a new light. Now we know how so many other trainers besides Ash think. Making Pokemon as strong as possible, as fast as possible, is such a prominent strategy that the Eevee brothers literally threw a party at their mansion to evolve their Pokemon with other trainers. Did I mention they threw a party? Like it's a pastime! Pikachu fights this style of training, however, and that's why Ash is his perfect companion. Pikachu cares. That's not to say Pikachu is entirely selfless, but in a universe where Pokemon trainers seem to have total and utter control over the Pokemon they capture, Pikachu sheds a different light on this trainer-Pokemon relationship. This isn't an Ash Charizard situation where the trainer's Pokemon is too strong for the trainer to control. Yo, dog, use Fire Smash! Hell no, you ain't the boss of me. Damn it, Charizard, you had one job! One job! Whatever, Mom, go make me some food! Hard to realize that is the exact transcript from the original Pokemon anime. I never remembered it going down quite like that, but the evidence don't lie. The fact that Charizard is too strong for Ash to handle causes the Pokemon to disobey and not respect the trainer. This isn't the same as Pikachu. It's quite the opposite, actually. Pikachu and Ash not only care for, but also respect each other. And while this mutual respect between Pokemon and trainer isn't unfound in the Pokemon universe, Pikachu is different. I mean, besides the whole Pikachu not being in a Pokeball thing, Pikachu has the wherewithal to make his own battle decisions based on his own moral compass. In gym and typical trainer battles, we see Pikachu going all out in an attempt to, obviously, defeat its opponent. But in the Johto journeys, when Ash and Misty are battling over who would take home the precious Totodile, well, just watch.
Only now you're gonna see it in action! Togepi, go! What's the matter, Pikachu? How about starting out with your Thundershock attack?
Sure, it may have been Togepi's battle tactics, but it's not like Togepi using Charm was the reason why Pikachu ran away from the battle. It's not the whole reason anyway. Pikachu didn't want to fight Togepi in the first place. It was obvious from the get-go. Yeah, they're friends, but we've seen Pikachu fight friends in the past. This is different. Togepi is a baby, a Pokemon that hatched so recently that it is still in its shell. A much lower level than Pikachu, so obviously our yellow mouse would have won the battle easily. It's not like Ash didn't tell Pikachu to attack.
How about starting out with your Thundershock attack?
It's just Pikachu was using his own discretion in deciding not to attack, and then ultimately deciding to flee from battle. It seems that Pikachu has free will. See, Sam Harris, free will isn't a myth! But blah blah blah, maybe this compassion Pikachu showed is due to his bond with Togepi. But the thing is, this isn't the last time something like this happened. In the first episode of Pokemon Black and White, Ash goes up against a dude named Trip. Now for those who have seen the series, you know exactly where I'm going here. For those who haven't, well, you'll see.
Pikachu, use Thunderbolt! All right, Iron Tail!
Dodge it! Snivy, use Leaf Tornado!
Pikachu!
So that sequence just looked like Pikachu lost to a Snivy, but that's only part of the story. The guy who Ash is battling, Trip, just started his Pokemon League challenge and chose the grass-type Pokemon Snivy. He literally just picked Snivy as his starter Pokemon. Meanwhile, Ash has had Pikachu for 13 seasons prior to this. 13 seasons! And still manages to lose. But why? Well, Ash tries to have Pikachu go to his typical lightning attacks right off the bat, but the fact that Pikachu doesn't follow through isn't due to all that free will mumbo-jumbo. It's because earlier in the episode, Pikachu got shocked by the legendary Zekrom, and supposedly that shock caused Pikachu to not be able to use lightning attacks. But still, you're fighting a starter Pokemon, a Pokemon that is literally level 5, a Pokemon so fresh that it hadn't yet gotten a taste of battle. So what the fuck, Pikachu? He knew Quick Attack and Iron Tail and at least Tackle. A Tackle should have been able to beat a fresh-blooded starter Pokemon. Did Pikachu lose all stats once the season restarted? No, the answer is much more psychological than that. Pikachu was holding back, giving the weaker Pokemon Snivy the experience of sparring in battle and seeing what it's capable of as opposed to just coming in and knocking them out right off the bat. Because what's the fun in that? It's much more interesting in battle to see what your opponent is capable of as opposed to just finishing the fight off as soon as possible. And Pikachu lost because he underestimated Snivy. Much like a black belt holding back while fighting a white belt, then suddenly the white belt lands a super lucky blow and embarrassing loss. Even when Ash calls out attacks, Pikachu doesn't listen like your normal Pokemon. He's on a different level than other Pokemon in the universe, and even the other ones on Ash's team. Pikachu doesn't disobey because he's too strong for Ash to control, but more because he follows his own set of morals. Pikachu doesn't just fight battles for the purpose of winning. Even in situations where the battle should be heavily favored in the side of this Sparky rat, Pikachu is more interested in holding back for the benefit of others than for just bulldozing the competition. And in that way, Pikachu shows compassion. This isn't even the most interesting thing about Pikachu, however. Pikachu's compassion is second to his love for the thrill of the adventure. It's not about being the very best like no one ever was, but the journey that leads to that. Pikachu is far more interested in personal growth, experiencing new experiences, and of course kicking it hardcore when the opportunity calls for it. Just look at Surfing Pikachu from Pokemon Yellow. Surfing Pikachu is an obvious visual representation of Pikachu's adventure-seeking and personal boundary-dissolving nature. Not to mention all the emotions Pikachu can experience in Pokemon Yellow. Remember all the expressions you can see in this game? You can really see how Pikachu reacts to different experiences throughout your journey together. Low health, burnt, poisoned, perfectly healthy, regardless of what's happening, you can see the situation in Pikachu's face. When I said this little guy was the face of the Pokemon franchise, I meant it figuratively and literally. He's really our connection to all Pokemon. He's the one who reeled us in the first place. He's the one who takes his identity and personal growth seriously, while so many other Pokemon blindly obey their trainers to become as powerful as possible. Pika's appeal is more than just good marketing. It runs deep. It carries us through 20 seasons and a ton of movies. You could say Pikachu embodies the journey to be the best like no one ever was. Not because of his impressive electric abilities, but because he's all about the deeper reason for doing it in the first place. Do you remember what attracted you to Pokemon in the first place? If you're like me, the idea of filling out my Pokedex and beating the Elite Four was rewarding. Not to mention watching Ash stumble his way through Kanto was entertaining. But that wasn't where the passion came from. It was all about exploring this huge and magical world. The sense of being free and growing from adventures as you work towards being the best. The I will travel across the land searching far and wide. The our courage will pull us through. The you teach me and I'll teach you. That's what gives these creatures sprinkled throughout a fictional world their meaning. Ash is Pikachu in the anime, and also Red's in the games, that symbol of Pikachu we've been sold for so long. He knows why he's here. He doesn't need a trainer to give him a purpose. We see this in the lighthearted surfing Pikachu. We see it in the emotions of Pokemon Yellow. We see it in all the times Pikachu refused to evolve despite so much pressure from other trainers. We see it in Pikachu's passionate speech about fighting for all Pikachu and maintaining an identity rather than being a cookie-cutter plushie that can flex its power on command. All this adventuring is building towards something. As new lands are explored and new Pokemon are caught and bonded with, this whole collection of experiences adds up. It accumulates into the Pokemon journey we all longed for as kids, and Pikachu isn't asleep for any of it. Within this little yellow mouse is a collection of experiences our childhood selves could only dream of. Pikachu's inner fire and true sense of adventure is what keeps Pokemon alive, and it's this idea that keeps the franchise from devolving into just a stats war with some new additions every once in a while. We all remember that first line of the song, "I want to be the very best like no one ever was." But sometimes we forget that other line, "You teach me and I'll teach you." It's not about growing stats, it's about growing together, growing as an individual and appreciating the journey for the reasons you set out for it in the first place. Pikachu isn't just marketable, he is wise. Wise enough to not mind that his trainer is a tool sometimes. And that's the story. You never knew. Nothing like a video about good old Pika-Pee to get me worked up. I'm Grant, and I've been dying to make this video for a while now. Me and Pikachu go way back, so it was only a matter of time, really. That being said, I know I'm not the only one to appreciate this adorable yellow mascot thing. I'm sure you've got a thing or two to say about my opinion. So why don't you let me know down below what you think Pikachu represents. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that cute little bell so you don't miss more content like this. Story You Never Knew is going to come out way more often now that we've got some editors helping us, so don't miss it. Speaking of exciting news, I'm going to the Retro World Expo on October 14th and 15th at the Connecticut Convention Center in Hartford, Connecticut. I'll be hosting some panels with Loxton of Noggin and Brad from Swanky Box. It's gonna be super interesting, and it'd be awesome to meet you guys in person. Come see me IRL! My awkwardness will be endearing, I assure you. Once again, I'm Grant, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone!